Hozier and I are akin. At least that's how I feel. That may be an insult to his intelligence. But I feel like as an artist who submits his work to the general public, he'll be glad that he's been able to at least inspire that delusion for me. The similarities are there though. He's Irish. I'm an eighth Irish. He is a certified giant, and I'm on the taller end of women, maybe. And we both adore the ever-loving out of Seamus Heaney. Bog poetry. It's good stuff. One of the many things that I love about Hozier is the way he writes about women, because the language he uses feels like such a rarity these days. It's like otherworldly and romantic, whilst being so brutally human at the same time. Yes, he writes about women's beauty and sensuality, but he also writes in a way that acknowledges our capacity for things like cruelty and error. It's that acknowledgement of complexity that's so refreshing, and not even complexity born through immense trauma, which some male musicians seem to be hellbound on writing about, but just complexity as a condition of being a living, breathing human, you know? And yet, even with acknowledging flaws, he is able to express this almost sacred adoration of the women in his songs. It's near worship, and you just don't come across that as much as I think we should. So in celebration of Valentine's Day, and as a little treat for all my fellow singletons this year, I thought we could delve into some of Andrew Hozier Burns' most breathtaking lyrics, in my humble opinion. The first one I'm going to bring up is from Take Me to Church, which obviously probably everyone knows this one. Such a huge hit with such an important story. It's such a devastating story, but I just wanted to highlight the very beginning of the song, because the way he describes this person is just so lovely. My lover's got humour. She's the giggle at a funeral. Knows everybody's disapproval. They should have worshipped her sooner. If the heavens ever did speak, she's the last true mouthpiece. If anyone ever said something like this about me, I would cease to exist. It's just, you can read so much just from those 6 lines. You get such a rich and full picture of this person. I love how much religion is referenced in Hozier's work. It gives such an incredible sense of place. Obviously, Ireland has been haunted for centuries by religious conflict, and still to this day. I myself have a complicated relationship with religion, experiencing both extremes, you know, being extremely religious and being extremely atheist, and now I just sort of sit in a much calmer middle ground.
I used to be an atheist. Now I'm like an atheist.
I don't believe that God is this all-seeing, all-knowing, father-like figure that's looking down and ruling over us. To me, God is this self-conjured magic in life's best moments and in the people that we love. So these lyrics really speak to me. The idea of someone being a messenger of this magic is just such a lovely way to express love for someone. And then you compare that to things that you hear, like Justin Bieber singing "Yeah, You Got That Yummy Yum" about his wife, and it just makes you lose faith a little bit, you know? Hozier is why I have standards, or at least now I do. My dating history would not indicate that I have anything of the such. I slithered here from Eden just to sit outside your door. Simple and sweet, but just so packed with feeling in just those 2 lines. Not even to be beside this woman, he left paradise just to sit outside her door. He left this certain beautiful place on the off chance that he might be able to be close to her, that she might let him in. Eden is heaven on earth, and he left it in a heartbeat, you know? Again, religious imagery. He slithered just like the serpent who, you know, incited the original sin in Eden, and he's positioning himself as this lowly, flawed creature in comparison to this woman who is better than Eden itself. Perth boys could never. When my time comes around, lay me gently in the cold, dark earth. No grave can hold my body down. I'll crawl home to her. For context, Work Song is about a man who finds his strength in his partner after a really hard day of like manual labor. So he's saying even in death, his love for this woman allows him to physically dig out of this grave to return to her. If we view this through a religious lens, like you can with most of Hozier's songs, death is God's ultimate power, and no mortal can reverse that. Yet here is this woman that defies that and ultimately subverts this superiority that God supposedly has. Just like in From Eden, God says, here, this is heaven on earth. And yet here is this woman that's the total contradiction of that. Thus, it would seem she is more powerful than the Almighty, sort of throwing into doubt everything that's ever been taught. And I've never loved the darker blue than the darkness I have known in you, honed from you. You whose heart would sing of anarchy, you would laugh at meanings, guarantees so beautifully. We can really see a pattern in Hozier's work of women representing a defiance of the traditional teachings of those in power. This is a woman who revels in a nihilistic view of the world. She's laughing at the idea of any higher meaning or guarantees that religion might offer, like an afterlife. And we can really see that theme carrying over to the album that preceded this, Wasteland Baby. In fact, if you would like to hear me discussing that album a bit further, I do actually have a full breakdown, full in-depth analysis of the album. It is actually my second most popular video on this channel, and it has some lovely comments like, "This video deserves so much more recognition. One of the best breakdowns I've ever seen for sure." Thanks, Daniela. Not to blow my own trumpet or anything, but back to the lyrics at hand. Andrew actually talked about these lyrics in specific on All Songs Considered, so I thought I'd just share that with you because he is obviously way better with words than I am. In this regard, we are talking about a darkness in somebody. I think that's something that everyone relates to on some level, whether it's somebody that they see in themselves or somebody that they know. I think we often refer to it as a downside or our failing, but I think that's oftentimes through fear of wanting to address that, like that old joke. You're afraid to drain the pool in case of what you find at the bottom of it. But I think oftentimes something within that, you find your greatest strength and you find your greatest mettle. But it doesn't necessarily have to refer to darkness in a bad or evil or malignant way. But it could be that part of us that maybe challenges the other parts of ourselves or challenges the way we see things. Maybe that little shred of you might be iconoclastic or reels against other things that you accept. If I was born a blackthorn tree, I'd want to be felled by you, held by you, fuel the pyre of your enemies. Absolutely feral. Jail. This man deserves jail for that one. I mean, with this song, even with the title, Nothing with My Baby, it's just like,
damn.
When he first introduced this song, he said, this song is about watching the world burn and realizing that the person next to you is completely unfazed by it and may have even been the one to start the fire themselves. Once again, Hozier incorporates Irish lore, the blackthorn tree representing darkness, and that really adds to the overall tone of the song. The narrator is so in awe of this woman's power. Whether that power is for good or evil is still up for debate. A pyre is a big pile of wood that's used to burn corpses in like traditional folk funerals. So he's expressing this desperation to be something like anything to this woman, even if it's just for him to lay down his body so she can have this ultimate triumph over her enemies. And that's hot, literally. You are a call to motion. There, all of you, a verb in perfect view. This is just beautiful and taken from one of my absolute favorite Hozier tracks. All of it could be mentioned, the whole song could be mentioned in this video, but I just wanted to highlight those two lines because I've just never heard anything like that before. If you look at a lot of music nowadays, the lyrics rely so heavily on the actual instrumental because otherwise without it, they wouldn't have much impact. But if you sold me these lyrics as just, you know, in a poem book, even reading that would still take my breath away. I'm so in awe of Hozier's writing skills, and I really hope one day I'm able to pen something as pretty as he's able to. Oh, to be loved, like a Hozier song. Now I could go on forever and ever, but I won't. I'm sure you have better things to do with your day, so I will leave it there. Please let me know if you enjoyed this at all, either by giving it a like or leaving a comment. Maybe comment your favorite lyrics that weren't mentioned in this video, or if you have an alternate sort of interpretation of the lyrics that I've mentioned. Like I said, there's a whole album review, so if you want to hear more of me gushing over this man, I will link that below for you. If you're interested at all in my other musical interests, I actually host a radio show every Tuesday night with my best friend Naomi, where we share our love for all sorts of alternative genres, from new wave, post-punk, mod, soul, just a whole lot. The show is called Going Underground, and it airs every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Perth time, which unfortunately at the moment with daylight savings is midnight in Eastern Standard Time, or 1 p.m. in the UK. So I will leave that. It's free to stream on the website, so I'll leave that linked below as well if you want to check that out. Subscribe for more music and arts and culture content, and I will see you next week. Mwah!